The world is a global village.
And that's because information travels beyond boundaries.
And on This Morning on ITV,
we guarantee unbiased analysis on topical issues
that will educate you,
entertain you.
So join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Every Sunday to Thursday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, This Morning on ITV, TMI. Join us! Well, it's a delight to have you join us on the show, TMI, and this beautiful Monday morning. Today, we have our panelists in the studio. Very grateful to God that they all made it here on time for us to get this conversation on course. The state of the nation and all the issues dominate our national discourse in the build-up to 2019 is a thrust of this discussion segment on TMI. For my immediate left, I'd like to thank very especially Pastor Phil Aroji for creating the time to be here. Pastor Phil, many thanks for coming.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
I also have joining us Pastor Collins Sukonova. I've been tracking him for like ages, but it's good to have you here on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And Barrister Washington Osifo, former commissioner at the state. Barrister Washington, thank you for coming so early this morning. Austin Bryman, well, I can't remember how long I've been tracking you now. Maybe 1 year since last year. Finally, you're here. Good to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Okay, Austin, let me start with you. There is this talk that the country has never found itself in a situation like this in its entire history. The division or the gap in terms of religious line is widening. The space between the haves and the have-nots is widening. A security challenge, economic challenge. I mean, is this really symptomatic of this administration, or these are issues that have always been there from time immemorial?
Yeah, thank you very much. These are issues that have always been there from time immemorial. Every leader comes on board to try to put down what he has to solve these problems. These are problems of nation building. So the peculiar situation this administration finds itself, I'm not a spokesman for the administration, but I'm here to objectively contribute to this discourse. The situation this present government found itself made it look as if they are doing nothing. It made it look as if the situation has become worse. It is certainly far from the truth. This government has done more to not just to unify Nigeria in terms of religion, in bringing out people from poverty, in ensuring that things honestly work well. This government has done more than any other government. And in the course of our discussion, I will be able to give you facts to show that.
Okay. Barrister Washington, you know, people make statements based on promises made. If people say, some say, this government has not failed in terms of promises made, would you agree with that?
Well, first, I want to correct an impression, because that was your opening remarks. As an intelligent, investigative journalist, you know, I don't think that is your thought, that in the history of Nigeria, this seems to be the government that has been judged, you know, in your own words. I think it should be the words of some persons, not your own. Because I want to remind you, in the wake of the election in 2015, you will recall that this nation, nobody thought that this nation would still be around as at today. There were religious issues, there were very stiff political issues, hate speeches everywhere. Very many persons traveling across the nation for safety. Now, if you compare that with what is happening with 1 year to an election, you will see that this time is more peaceful compared to the time you're talking about. So just to correct that this is not the worst of all the times at all. There's no basis for comparison. Having said so, you know, let me also remind us, just like my brother here said, that every leader comes with his own ideas. Unfortunately, for President Buhari, these are hard times. But his responsibility as a leader is to ask himself, how much time do we have? in a boat, when you are in a ship that is sinking, and the water that is getting into the ship, the volume of water getting into the ship is far more than you can get out. It's like drums coming in because the wall of the ship is broken, and what you are getting out is just probably getting it out with a teaspoon. You are wasting your time. The first question you ask as a responsible sailor or captain is, how much time do we have? Why are you asking this question? Because it will help you to plan. If it's in a case of where it is irredeemable, the situation becomes irredeemable by reason of time that you have or you don't have, the first thing will be to let down the floaters so that let the people escape, at least be on the high sea and wait for any solution. But if you have the time and you know you can fix it so that within such time it doesn't sink, the ultimate idea should be not floating the ship now, but ensuring that it doesn't sink.
Okay, let me pause you
by
there.
Fixing it.
Let me pause you there. Pastor Collins, interestingly, people have talked about the promises made as a basis for judging how this government, has performed so far. What is your assessment in terms of the level of government response, this present administration's response to the promises made and to the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians?
All right, thank you. I want to first commend Barrister Osifo's analogy of the boats and the captain. All right, because I mean it does give a very apt description of what we are going through right now. This is a government or a president that took first 6 months to form a cabinet. And you would think that if it took him 6 months to form that cabinet, he was going to come up with one great thing. But look at what we got. This is what we got. Now, that gave you an indication of the kind of government we're going to run. I want to say, without any fear of equivocation, sir, that this is the worst government that Nigeria has ever had. Next to it, Abacha's government. This is the worst. And let's just put it side by side. His first coming, the man came before in 1983.
No, let's leave that up because that was under a military system.
No,
just zero it on now. I understand.
I want to say something on this platform. The characteristics of the kingdom derive from the kingdom.
I want us to stay on course, Pastor Collins.
We're on course, sir.
Yeah.
We are looking at the government.
Yes, now.
The characteristics of a nation, of the kingdom, derive from the king. How the king is, how the kingdom will be. All right, the same king came in 1983, and this is what we expect. The same thing we're experiencing now. Even fuel scarcity, we had it in 1983 for the first time, and then he was blaming Shagari. Now we have scarcity again. It is Jonathan that caused it. All right, this is a government that refuses to take responsibility for anything, and they keep telling you, the damage that was done in 16 years cannot be corrected in 2 years. What did you apply for? You saw the damage, that's what you claimed. And you made a plethora of promises, none of which, to the best of my knowledge, has been redeemed. None of them. All you get are just further promises. Now they're telling you that in 2019, that's when these promises will be effected. None of them. And there's not even an indication that this government has a clue as to how to either fix the problems or even redeem these promises. They don't even feel obliged to redeem the promises that they made. So they are taking Nigerians for a ride. It is only at the twilight of his government they're coming up now with, we are going to be doing what's called restructuring. That's a hoax. They want to deceive Nigerians and put Nigerians, give them work to do, let them start talking. The same government told you before that we do not even have restructuring in our manifesto. We don't have it. That's what they set up because they saw that the agitation for restructuring was high. So they set up a restructuring committee. And who did they appoint? The man who is the most anti-restructuring human being in Nigeria. That's who they made the chairman of the restructuring committee. And that one now came up with a paper that Shehu Sani, an APC senator, said is not what the paper on which it is written. That's what Shehu Sani said, a senator of the APC. He said that recommendation of the Nasir El-Rufai's committee is not what the paper on which it is written. That no Nigerian should take them seriously. because this is just a hoax.
Okay.
And this is where we're going. From the time this government came into place till now, it's just one deceit after another. The same deceit that brought them into government. They kept condemning. They told you that they will make fuel to become 50 naira. They told you that naira will become 1 naira to $1. They told you that they were going to give what's it called, food to all the schools. They told you that there was no subsidy in petrol. They told you that petrol will never be scarce again. That after they raised petrol from 87 naira to 145 naira, they will never be scarcity. Now they are thinking of raising it to.
Mr. Collins, I'll pause you there. Reverend Free, one of the major challenges that confronted this nation is the challenge of security, particularly with the insurgent in the Northeast. This government did promise to match words with action in dealing with that challenge, and it's obvious that the insurgents have been decimated. So what is your characterization of the effort made so far on that plank?
Thank you very much. I do not envy politicians at this time, especially members of the ruling party, because it's the most challenging and difficult time to defend what cannot be defended. I could have given credit to the administration for technically decimating and technically defeating Boko Haram. That was December 2015, December 2017, and of course 2016 and 2017. But if at the close of last year, you were looking for $1 billion, and when we bring it together, it goes to 1 billion naira every day to fight insurgency in the Northeast, for Boko Haram that you have technically defeated and decimated, then something is wrong. Only 2 weeks ago, the Army High Command said, look, we are done with Boko Haram. We completely eliminated them. So what are you doing with $1 billion that we were asking for in December 2017? It doesn't add up. That's Boko Haram. I didn't have a problem with Boko Haram. That was in the Northeast. The problem I have, as of today, is that we have worse security situation in the country today than what we had before now. Because I didn't know Boko Haram. What I now have is herdsmen across the nation, everywhere. So if there was Boko Haram in the Northeast, that's what they knew then. But I have a worse situation on my hand right now. So I don't have any problem in rating the current administration when it comes to rating them on the 3 cardinal points they campaign on: security, economy, and then fight against corruption. And on all of them, I'll score them less than 10% on each of them. Because whereas you might have defeated Boko Haram in the Northeast, obviously I have worse problem now. When you talk about corruption, the fight against corruption, diseases are there. That's it. You say you are fighting corruption. Is the country better now than it was before? Obviously no. When you talk about the economy, you promise 3 million jobs every year. NBS is a federal government organization, National Bureau of Statistics. Have all the indices that Nigerians have lost more jobs than ever before. Do we have better power supply? Obviously no. Are Nigerians happier now? No. If you met petrol at 87 naira per liter, and yesterday I bought petrol at 175 naira, and that's what I've done for the last 3 months. And that I have to drive outside the city where I can find it. Things are not getting better for Nigerians.
Okay, let me pause you there. Austin, I'm coming to you now. You said a while ago that in the course of the discussion, the conversation, you unveil the gains made under the present administration, particularly along the lines of the 3 cardinal focal points of the administration: the economy, the economy, fight against corruption, and of course you know what the third one is. So let's get your insights into those points. Yes, security, yes.
Thank you. Yes, I'll start from security. A lot of misinformation is in the air, and we tend to add to that almost every day. And I don't blame a lot of people. You cannot give out what you don't have. Yeah. There are so many people just saying it is very easy to criticize, but not easy to defend. That's why I like what my pastor colleague said. he will not envy any politician at this time. Yeah, because there's so much disinformation everywhere, particularly about this government. And the main reason is that this is the time politicians want to cash in into every little thing to discredit a sitting government, because they have been removed, they are hungry. And so they want any little fault, no perfect government anywhere. But let me start from security. The $1 billion being sought by this government is not meant to fight the Boko Haram. It is meant to equip the military. The military is engaged in so many theaters in the country, including south, east, south, everywhere. It is the military. They are buying aircraft, they are buying helicopters, they are buying firearms, they are buying so many things. And because of the challenges, increasing challenges everywhere, including these herdsmen attacks everywhere. So this fund is being sought not to go and fight Boko Haram that they have technically defeated. But they have to. I'm sure Nigerians are aware of some Americans are supplying, Pakistanis supplied some military hardware. They had to procure current military hardware that were not there, that emboldened some of these insurgents. There are special equipment needed to assist the police in internal security. They have to procure them. They will not move armored tanks into Benue, for instance, when they are going to start combing the forest, searching for herdsmen. They are not going to move that into Kaduna. So there are special equipment. So this money has been explained and explained to people what it is meant for. Well, that is that. As far as security is concerned, yes, there are challenges. We must appreciate that at a point, even Benin City was not safe before 2015. We had bombings, our federal capital, they bombed American embassy, bombed Igo Square, bombed the biggest military barracks, Ani Abacha. But now people can sleep, people can go about. Yeah, the herdsmen attack we are talking about are challenges that have been there even before this government came. They have been, we lost a lot of people in Kaduna, pre-2015, 14. A lot of people were killed. And what it was, they would call it ethnic, but it was Fulani, Hausa. It happened in Plateau. So many people were killed in Plateau. Even when the governor came up to say, okay, this was what I did to get the restive cattle headers and so on. But I don't need to go into details about the cattle headers problems, which were not caused by anybody, but by the whole generality of the country. Because Ghana, Senegal, where this really migrate from, through Senegal, they have found solution to it. But we refuse, we keep politicizing our own. And that is that. We talk, let me move to the economy. Because my colleague said there is no power has not come, this has not come. This is easier said. Well, I know what Nigerian wants to see is that, oh, there is food on my table. Of course, it doesn't matter whether your father is an armed robber. I want to eat. If somebody comes and look, go and grow what you must eat. The time for us to go and start stealing cheap money, cheap that, must stop. There must be an end to something. And I said in this program once, there's no revolutionary leader that was ever popular in his time. And we do not expect Buhari, who has come to say we must grow what we eat. For instance, for the first time, Nigeria has stopped importing rice. The importation of rice has dropped to less than 21,000 metric tons. Out of 644,000 metric tons, Nigeria are growing over 80% of their rice needs. It has never happened. The effect will begin to show. If you go through monthly consumer price index, no one will say Nigerian economy is not growing, that prices are not dropping. But we must politicize this in order to allow some people to get into power and get some people out of power. When we talk of power, generation has hit 7,000 megawatts. Distribution has gone to 5.70 megawatts. Distribution is the problem. We have generation, transmission has gone to 5.5. Distribution is what is static. And that's what government is battling to see how it will be solved. Okay. And what is distribution? The distribution is the key, metering, transformers, changing of these wires.
I know what. Okay, let me
proceed.
I'll come back to you.
On the economy, so many things.
I'll come back to you. But please, let me bring Barrister Osifo in here. Would you subscribe to the feeling in some quarters that the gains made are less than areas that have not been impacted, and so it's more of a challenge for the government to be able to communicate to the people what has been achieved? Do you see that as a challenge? No. I think what is the challenge is that we, at some point, we forget history. Let me tell you, the world is watching, whether we like it or not, just like my brother rightly said. And my dear pastor here, perhaps he does not want us to talk about it, but the truth is that the truth must be told. Now, there were two schools of thoughts who made postulations before and during the elections that 2017, talking about pastors now, their colleagues, some of them said they heard from God that 2017 would be very tough in Nigeria, economically, politically. But if we are able to survive it, post 2017, 2018 onward will be better. Now they said God said so. We listened. Now, in scientific, those who also do their scientific designs, they also said 2017 would be very bad based on indices that you and I can follow. And of course, at the close in December of 2017 and January 2018, if we took statistics and all of what happened, we put both side by side, then you will say the men of God who said they heard from God, they were right. Statistically, the experts were also correct.
What is the point exactly?
Now the point is this. Why should men of God, the type that I'm sitting with here today, be surprised that, except they don't believe in the God they serve, except God never talked to them, or God said it happened, but today they want to say because of politics, they want to occupy position, it's no longer God. Now, what I'm trying to tell you, where my brother took it from, that yes, the description that I gave when I talked about the sheep, a seeking sheep, was apt. Now, what is not correct, what he doesn't avert his mind to, is this, that when Buhari came on board, you must talk about the 16 years. When Buhari came on board, he met a sinking ship. That is the point I was trying to tell you. And his responsibility, talking about time that we have, was that, do we continue to move with this ship, or just float it and fix it before continuing the journey? But however, when you ask of how much time do we have, you are concerned about the passengers in the ship. Because if it sinks, that you don't have a time, like if a flight that is falling, you don't have control. There's even no need to ask of time because it's gone. But when you find a ship which is still floating, but with much water, volume of water coming into it, your responsibility should be to amend it in a way that, way that you stop the water from coming in. Then you start bailing out the water. Now let me remind us again. I listened to your colleague at CNN, Christian Ramaphosa. She had the former president on the hot seat. I'm talking about Basanjo, sometime before the election. Yeah. The question was, you are a former Nigerian leader, president. You have two persons now asking for power. The sitting incumbent, who of course is the champion of corruption. I'm quoting her. Corruption, said to be one of the most corrupt leaders in Africa, then against a dictator. Now, he said, looking at both of them, a dictator versus a former military dictator versus a sitting president that is very corrupt.
Alleged to be corrupt.
No, I'm telling you, okay. Don't put it in my mouth. I'm telling you what she said. That was why I said I am quoting her. Okay, all right. You understand? Okay. I'm quoting her. Yeah. I'm not trying to go on. Now, that was the case that led us to this. What was his point? What did he say? The point was this. Nigerians were meant to choose between a corrupt leader and a military dictator who is obviously not corrupt. Now, you can call Buhari all the names in this world, but what you cannot call him, you can't call him a snitch, you can't call him a thief. This country, for crying out loud, when the sky falls, it will fall on all of us. The man, where this man is different, is that he will not give you and I the kind of money that we used to enjoy. Okay,
let me pause you there, Pastor.
There is sanity, there is discipline, there is fiscal discipline and character discipline.
Let me pause you there. I'll come back to you. Yeah, Pastor Collins, I'm sure you want to probably.
You are done right. I mean, Buhari is not corrupt. The grass cutter was his appointee. The grass cutter was found to have, misappropriated some amount of money, which even the committee that the president himself set up indicted the man. What was left? Prosecute this man. It took him, can't remember how long, to get that man out of office. 7 months. 7 months. Even now, he's still being shielded. All the billions that were found in that Ikoyi apartment, somebody put them there. All right? All the officials of the government, the NNPC, Baruga, all of these are his appointees. So there's no money in Buhari's pocket, but their money is Nigerians' monies in the pockets of his appointees. Who took them? That right now the anti-corruption czar, crusader, You have not prosecuted one of your officials. You keep talking about the actives in PDP. Oh, good, great. The people, as soon as they cross over to APC, they become set. I can name them. All right, I just don't want to now. The people who were undergoing trial while they were in PDP, as soon as they cross over, Kalu, the former governor of Abia, is one of them. All right, now he's campaigning strenuously for Buhari because he has been assured that as long as you keep campaigning, you'll be let off the hook. So many of them like that. You tell me that there's no corruption. In fact, this is now
Pastor Collins,
I'm reacting.
Yes, no, I know you're reacting.
And I'm reacting.
Hold on. I want you to react, but let's be civil in our choice of words because I know where you were going. Yeah.
Now, what I'm saying is that, listen, on all the three fundamental promises that the Buhari made before they came, they have failed Nigerians. In terms of security, in fact, now, I'm hearing someone tell me now that we sleep with our two eyes closed. Where? Where do you sleep? Maybe inside Aso Rock. Because now you are not sure when next, did we not hear now about these herdsmen that they kidnapped 4 mobile policemen in Benue State, where they say the IG has deployed forces to the place. 4 mobile policemen were kidnapped. In fact, we don't know whether they have been recovered now. 2 has some. Two. Now, so this where are people sleeping with their 2 eyes closed? On security, on economy. See, the only way by which you can measure the growth of the economy is how much improvement is in the daily lives of Nigerians. Don't give me statistics. All the statistics that my brother was quoting. Where are they MPS released statistics or APC released statistics? You are telling me about this and that. They will be talking about increase in external reserve. How does that convert to bread on my table? You want to go and keep $50 billion in external reserve and then I have not 1 naira in my pocket so that I will die first before you know that it is Nigerian that owns the money. What's the point? A man is hungry, you say he's saving money. For what? And we know all these are just figures that you never translate to anything. So all the roads that are bad, I cannot mention one road now that has been fixed since this government came into power. All right. Now they talk about power. He's talking about 50 megawatts, 60 megawatts. My own is I don't have light in the house. And you promised before, you told us, Fashola, who is the Minister of Power now, he made a statement in Lagos the other time that if the government cannot fix power, he has no business being in government. And up till now, they gave it to him. You go and fix it. What do you have now? Megawatt, they calling figures in the air that does not translate to light in my house. They are talking about the economy. There's no food on Nigerian table. Everything has gone up. The same inflation that we had in 1983 is what we have now. Every time this man comes, there's hardship in the land. Okay, when he will leave now, you will see. When he will leave now, you will find that
let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. Let me pause you there. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Okay. Reverend Phil, he made Barrister Osifo said something about prophecies that were made.
I was going to react to that. That's what I was going to
react to. But let me get you to react to that.
I just react to that quickly because I don't know about men of God who said in 2017 things are going to be bleak. All right. Besides, there's no union of men of God where we all meet to harmonize our prophecies. Anybody can say anything. And I've never even heard once about prophecies that it was going to be bleak in Nigeria.
Okay, but let's assume it was said somewhere.
It was said, so it is a good thing now that it now manifested.
Okay,
what's the purpose of government?
Just pause there, Reverend Phil. I'd like to get your thoughts along those lines in the next few minutes.
Thank you very much. Yes. First, I need to situate here again that I don't belong to any political party. The broom of the APC is not coordinated. Neither is the umbrella of the PDP good enough for me to enter. I don't have interest in any political party. I run my church, and then I work for CAN and PFN. I need to situate it properly. So I'm not here for any political party.
Go on.
I work for CAN and PFN. I'm the National Public Secretary of PFN Youth Wing and State Chairman of
you are a stakeholder in this country?
Yes. Okay. So when I speak with facts.
As a stakeholder?
Yes, okay. With facts, not APC or PDP. The umbrella and the broom is not good enough for me. The reality of what we have on ground. People actually give prophecies and all the rest. And anybody can give. But like Pastor Collins said, there is no meeting where we harmonize prophecies and say this is what God has said. No, it's not there. If somebody saw prophecy and said 2017 is going to be bleak and 2018 is going to be better. Well, by faith we believe it's going to be better as believers. But has 2018 started well? Obviously no. Because the first thing that affects every other thing is the price of petroleum. Yesterday, the PDP asked that the president resign as the Minister of Petroleum. It's on most of the papers yesterday and on today. Even Northerners do not even have confidence even in the person of the president regarding 2019. Because there was a meeting in Abuja on Saturday and it was reported yesterday. Northerners are sourcing for consensus candidates. Northerners. So what are we defending? The president, that's his person, he has done his best. And I believe that Nigerians should allow him to finish his tenure. If you don't like what he has done, get your PVC, and in February, whenever the National Assembly and INEC decide we should have an election in 2019, we'll go and vote and decide who we should vote for. But for somebody to be talking of figures, my brother mentioned about rice. We'll stop importing rice. For God's sake, we had a bag of rice for 7,000 and it's now 18,000. That it has even come down. Does it make any sense, human sense, that you stop importing rice and you're importing grass from Brazil, for cows? Doesn't make any sense. That we should go back to farm. You have a program here called Wasunu. An edition was aired on Thursday where your presenter went to a community not far from here, Udigi, and he did a report there. It's even on YouTube. I watched it last night, 11 minutes, where the whole plantation that people had been raised down by herdsmen. We should go back to farm. We don't farm rice here. We farm plantain and yam. Somebody make it sound, a man reported in that video that 600 tubers of yam was eaten by herdsmen. By cows, herdsmen led them there. It is in the north they make rice. We don't make it here. And then you import grass from Brazil, and then for cows. And you won't allow them to bring in rice for human beings to eat. It doesn't make any sense at all to me.
Okay, I'll pause you there. Austin, yeah, I quite, let me just for the benefit of our viewers also remind us that views that are canvassed here or expressed here are the views of the individual panelists. They are not in any way the views of the organization. And we also have a responsibility to try and make sure that comments that are made that we feel is in bad taste, in accordance with the guiding principles of the NBC, restrict our panelists to ensure that they don't go off track. But this is not foolproof. Somehow, sometimes there may be a slip, but I know that our regulators will always show some understanding. Okay, because we have a responsibility to ensure that the peace, unity, and progress of this country, Nigeria, remains our collective responsibility, even though some people don't feel that way. But that's a matter for another day. Austin, let me come to you. What would you say is the most critical challenge at the moment that seems to widen the gap between leaders and the led, in the opinion of some people? Just to make reference to what Barrister Osifo was accusing me of a while ago. What do you think is the most critical challenge right now in the country?
Evidently, the most critical challenge to everyone is information dissemination. Because when privileged people, persons like us, when we do not have access to facts, then the problem is greater than herdsmen and Boko Haram. Let me take it this way. We rely so much on social media, and I can create a video of 30 minutes and put it on YouTube for my personal aim. And when most of our leaders, people like us, begin to rely on videos and information on social media, there's a problem. And this is an unregulated highway, but that is that. I want to thank, I have a lot of respect for Pastor Phil, because I've listened to his impartial analysis, and I think I'm happy with his position, because you have to look at this based on the information available to you, and I'm happy with that. Let's look at it.
Obviously, you're not happy with Pastor Collins. That's what
hold on. Mr. Collins has always, we've been on this program together before, and I know his position. Okay. That he's a politician.
It's okay.
But I'm happy with him because he is an outward critic of APC, and I'm happy. The few minutes I have, let me give him facts. I do not have to. He's entitled to his opinion. So let me go to what he said about the coming of Buhari and his inability to address issues and whether he should go back and back. Thank God the pastor over there said Nigerians will decide whether he should go home or not. That is perfect. The northern leaders, when you talk of going to shop for a consensus candidate, has not excluded President Buhari. He's a northerner. When they sit down, consensus candidate with me, all of you interested, come and sit with this man. Let's see who is better. Yeah. So that has not even ruled him out of the race. So that is that. Let's look at when this man came on board. I hope I would have had some more minutes. When this man came on board, he looked at the government. He made promises. By the time he came, states were owing salaries. 27 states could not pay salaries. They started borrowing money. Federal government started borrowing money to pay salaries by 2013. And Okonjo-Iweala warned that if this thing continues, this country will be doomed by 2014. Because they were borrowing money. Money was being spent. That was a government that met $60 billion in external reserve. By the time they were leaving, $29 billion were removed, had been left. And oil was selling at 118, 120 something. During those period of 6 years. And nothing was saved. Nothing was kept. All the money was spent. And then this government came in. Where is the money? NNPC had about 108 different accounts. The gas was being sold. Nobody accounted for the money was just going out. Dollars were going out. Nothing was happening. NEPA was comatose. Production dropped to 3.5 megawatts all over the country. There were no roads. Contractors that were being owed are still being paid till now. This government just paid contractors. Now ASU, the agreement signed was by ASU 2014, 2015. We're not met. This government is just struggling to pay. So what will you do as a president? So debt, problem. Okay, let's see. It started with TSA, blocked all the loopholes. Where this money is going? Let us recover money for us to pay debts. Let us streamline this. So many things he did. Then ease of doing business to ensure that now if the things are stable, getting stable, let us show to the world that we know Nigeria is being ranked as one of the best in terms of ease of doing business. We've been ranked as 24th in the world. Our stock is the third stock in the whole of the world right now. Best in stock. It is not this government that rated it. Yeah. Okay, so many things are going on. This government has done so. So by the time you sit down, plug all these people, stop people from stealing money, block all the accounts. Now everybody is operating through one single account. And go to Abuja now, you see houses. The owners are hiding. No tenants. People are not buying. And then you say, what do we want? We want thieves. We want the country to steal. We want this open. My brother, the price of rice and gari will eventually come. They will drop. Okay. It's not overnight. Okay. This is still planting season. Yeah. And we say, okay, reaping, the time for harvest is near. Okay. When the harvest
so this is not the time for harvest now?
Not yet.
All right.
2 years.
Right.
3 years is not enough. It's not enough. We are planting.
All right.
We are repairing.
We're gradually running off this discussion. But let me get a final word from Barrister Washington Osifo.
Well, I think
yes, expectation. I mean, 2019 is just around the corner. I mean, there have been alignment and realignment in that direction.
Yes. Yeah. Let me also advise us. You, my dear brother, thank you for your kind words. But the truth is that, for the purpose of this discourse, before we can make some sense, we must really unveil who we really are, so that we can situate where we're talking from. My dear pastor here, my brother, is my friend. I'm in politics. There are some of these pastors who frolic around politicians and all of that. So if you don't get what you want, automatically you become their enemy and they can lash at you. Let me leave it at that. I don't want to go far. We know each other. I'm a politician, APC, former commissioner.
Washington, can you stay on?
Now let's go straight to the point. It's okay, but I want to leave that. I want to leave that because he got commendation from my brother, and I know him. I needed to tell him that I know him. You understand? And we meet, and nobody can deny that.
Can you go
now,
on?
having said that, now if you go to the Arab world, for instance, you see the battle to recover looted funds that is going on by a young prince. Yes. Dealing with his own brothers and sisters, Saudi Arabia, and asking them to return. As at last week, they had recovered over $100 billion, and there are volunteers bringing it. That is the trend. Now, if this government has done nothing, but the fact that there's sanity and there's this recklessness has been tamed in spending, that is the right direction to go. Okay. Now, I think his wishes now. Don't forget what I told you, that when he was introduced before he came into government, he was introduced as a dictator versus
a former dictator.
A former dictator versus a corrupt leader. Now, the point is this: he is trying to streamline himself. I'm sure one thing that is frustrating him is the judiciary. He means well to fight corruption, but corruption is also fighting back. And judiciary, I mean, I want to tell you, with due respect to very many of them, some of them, I mean, they are not helping him at all. And every day, people keep asking. Every day they're arresting people, no result and all of that. He has said it severally, that the frustration is coming from the point of the judiciary. And thank God to the new CJN, who of course has created a special court to deal with all this matter. If he gets support from the judiciary, I tell you, this impunity, the regards for crime, the incentive for crime and continuous crime is that no one does anything about it. Okay. And what I know is that let us continue to support this government in fight against corruption. If we fight corruption and we succeed in corruption and we behave well, everything will fall into place.
All right, Pastor Collins, final word from you as we move towards 2019, because in your opinion, some of the things happening are instigated by, intentions for 2019. Yeah.
Oh, no, not at all about it. My own worry, and this is really disturbing to me, is the fact that, this government, I don't care what label anybody gives to me. You call me a pastor, a political pastor. I don't have a problem with it. I'm a stakeholder in this country. All right? The politician does not have a greater stake in this country than I, because I'm a pastor. I'm not limited to making comments on the political sphere because I'm a pastor. I'm a stakeholder. What the market goes to is the same market I go to. When they make things difficult for us, I have to go and I have to start complaining. I have members of church who complain to me daily. So if you call me a politician because I make statements, I don't have a problem with it. All right. My problem with all of this is, they talk about the fact. My brother is talking about the fact. There's disinformation. Who is bringing the disinformation? When APC was campaigning to come, it was a lot of propaganda. They carried a heavy propaganda machinery. All right, and the purpose was to disinform Nigerians. They told us all kinds of things, and they promised us El Dorado. They told Nigerians that once APC comes into, the expectations were high. Expectations of Nigeria were very high. We believed everything. And the way Jonathan was swept out of the government, they might even complain. Okay, good, have it. Let's see what you're going to do. 2.5 years or more down the line, what are Nigerians getting? I just don't like all this propaganda. You telling me figures. What is the life of the average Nigerian today? That's what I want to know. Don't give me statistics. Statistics don't help me on my table. You keep telling me saying it's a growing season. How many Nigerians are there without jobs? 3 million out of jobs. You are telling me growing season. So when they finish dying, then you will not be having season. All right, and what they are planning, what they are talking about now, if Mona give us a chance, we'll take off for 2019. When we come, we will go better. And that's when it will be worse for Nigerians. Nigerians will die in their millions if they make the mistake of allowing this government to come back in 2019. All right, it's telling us now in its growing season, it doesn't grow overnight. What did they tell us when they were coming? These people just have a way of deceiving people and lying to people. It's a growing season now. It's growing season. When will be the harvest season? After 2019, when we have come back. Okay. So that Nigerians can die in their millions.
Nigerians won't die. Nigerians won't die, Pastor Collins. Thank you, Pastor Collins.
The truth of the matter is that this government has shown indisputably that they have no clue whatsoever.
That's your personal opinion. That's personal opinion,
of course.
Yeah.
But go to the street. You have this person. Go to the street. Go and ask people. Go and ask people. Even you know. All right. Are things better for you everywhere? They say they are labeling the government because they are controlled. Am I looking for anything from many governments?
Pastor Collins, thank you. You made a point. You made a point.
So we need to understand that when Nigerians are complaining, the people who are in government, they should listen and stop all this propaganda. Okay, we have heard you. We will do something about it. Only a few days ago, the vice president now said okay, the clamor for state police, yes, in fact, we support it too. All of that is towards 2019.
Okay, Phil Aroji, last word from you.
Thank you very much. With all the good intentions that Mr. President may seem to present, there are things that happens within the government that punctures them. For example, the TSA account, that he inherited the structure and then he implemented it. Perfect program. But are you aware that only 3 months ago it was reported that there's a 50 billion naira from NNPC that the chief of staff asked that they should keep away from TSA?
Yes.
How do you defend that? No, how do you defend that?
The former NIADG.
How do you defend that? Yes. When a senator from Kaduna Central, Shehu Sani, will say that the fight against corruption concerning some persons you use insecticide, concerning some other persons you use deodorant, how do you defend it? When Boss Mustafa is a cousin, maternal cousin to the former SGF, and he replaced him, and then to replace Oke from the Southwest, you pick your cousin, I mean somebody from your community, from Daura. How do you defend that? It doesn't make any sense. When we have 19 heads of security organization in the country, and 17 are from the north and they are Muslims, as a pastor and a CAN official at the national and the state level, I can't keep quiet. Only 2 Southern Christians. It doesn't make any meaning to us that we are not divided along ethnic or religious lines. We are divided. Nigerians are more divided now. Irrespective of what we have in figures here and there, Nigerians are not happy people as of today.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Of course, if I have more time, certainly would have allowed this conversation to continue. But you know, like I always say on the program, every now and then, the issues are enormous, and the conversation just keep getting wider as you get along. But we can only do the much that we can, as much as time will permit us on the show. I want to say big thanks to all our panelists. Views expressed, as I said before, are entirely theirs, and it's our hope that we focus more on the things that tend to unite us than on the things that tend to divide us. We also expect that government will do her best to ensure that there is proper communication of issues. We don't have the Minister of Information, for example, saying one thing, the President saying another thing, the Senate President saying another thing, or the Vice President saying another thing, so that you don't bring this kind of confusion where people are wondering what exactly is the core issue to believe. I believe that putting all of this together will definitely get there. 2019 certainly is around the corner. Go get your PVC. That is the license that you have to do whatever you want to do as far as effecting whatever change that you want to change. But one thing is certain, President Muhammadu Buhari has a right to